Oh, my goodness. This is the Pit Boss Podcast, brought to you by our very good friends at Molly's Place Sporting Goods, MYMOLLYS.com, where you can fuel your adventure. Up next, Gunner Kennels. Gunner.com is what outfits the Pit Boss T350. Man's best kennel, Gunner.com. Up next is Crabs2Go, Crabs2Go.com, easily found on Route 50 and Routes 589, just outside Ocean City, Maryland, in Berlin, Maryland. Up next, which love you used over the weekend when I was not here, but the Duck Blind Bistro, duckblindbistro.com. It is the ultimate outdoor oven. I think there's our next friend, I believe there's going to be one of his creations in our driveway this afternoon. There's one inside deep of Pitboss World Headquarters, but punished into docks and rocks. Steve Hoover, all the way from New Philadelphia, Ohio, duckwaterboats.com. Turtlebox Audio, turtleboxaudio.com. Live loud, but they are the ultimate Bluetooth speaker. And I've been enjoying my newest Gen 2 as I've been painting decoys. Up next is the Huntproof app, huntproof.app. Did you know that? That's their webpage.
Oh, really?
Huntproof.app. I didn't know you could
running out of .com.
Yeah, all that kind of good stuff. But it's something we use daily, and if you follow along with us on Instagram or Facebook, you'll see it all the time. So, and last but not least is Pitboss Waterfowl. You just did another newsletter, did you not? Are you currently working on it?
Progress, yeah. Yep, and you did D-Max?
Speak. Oh, D-Max.
Now, D-Max,
you know why?
friends.
Yes. Thank you, love. Thank you. I just had an updated, this little cheat sheet is here, give me my pencil. Thank you. I'm sorry. D-Max, DEEMAXX. Wait a second. If you're watching on YouTube and or Rumble, right there.
Yep.
D-Max.
The best brakes.
Stainless steel brakes we've been using on the Loadmaster trailers from January. The first trailer I had was January of 2010. So if you're looking for now I'm going to steal somebody else's line. They've got to be the ultimate stainless steel disc brakes.
Everything's ultimate, right?
Well, give me another word.
No.
How about this? The
for
best.
you, like the ultimate whistle.
The best.
They are
the best stainless steel
especially
brakes.
Especially for saltwater.
100%, which our boats are always. Yeah, I don't know they've been in freshwater. If you want to call it Chesapeake, I wouldn't call it Chesapeake Bay freshwater. Anyway, D-Max, DEEMAXX.com. Check them out. We love their disc brakes. Now, thank you for reminding me of that. Now, lastly but not least is Pitboss Waterfowl, which you just have done another newsletter, correct?
Well, I'm working on it, yeah.
Okay, that's where we got mixed up.
Yep.
Or I got mixed up, excuse me.
Yeah, kind of got to opening it, and then we got stuck on the booking calendar.
It smells so good.
Yeah, updating, make sure we have all our ducks in a row, everyone.
Literally or figuratively?
Figuratively.
What's a good thing, though, January 1st, that you did question me about that. So
yeah. Yeah, but we do have an opening of 3 consecutive days.
In November?
Was it November?
Yeah.
Okay.
November, 100%. All right, I'm just going to take it no, I'm just going to keep some on.
Tastes pretty good.
All right. I got my damn cord in my shirt. All right. As I button up my shirt, this is a low-budget podcast. Skylar Ray, all the way from, you can correct me anytime, because I'm just going to roll with this, so you correct me as often as you would like. But I'm going to say you're from Northeast Alabama.
We are. We're from Center, Alabama, which is still Northeast. I know Center, you think middle, but we're CENTRE. Weiss Lake, Alabama, Terrapin Creek Duck Club, TC Duck Club on Facebook, Instagram. We're glad to be here.
So I was going to say all the way from Northeast Alabama via Long Island, New York. You've made it to Whaleyville, Maryland, and PBHQ. So welcome to you.
I really appreciate you having me, especially on short notice. This was, I know, not planned by you, but we've been trying to weasel our way up here for quite some time now, since the Drake Migration Nation TV show days, and we've been a big fan for a long time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. That's very, very kind of you to say. And you, before we hit this, because I stopped you because we're going to get too far along, and you said that possibly you shouldn't be here right now.
Well, it's
because of Migration Nation.
You know, you see people on TV and you think, well, I can do that, or you know, I always use Michael Jordan. You know, Michael Jordan makes everything kind of look simple on a basketball court because he can fly through the air and he can shoot it and he can dribble, and I mean defensive MVP and offensive MVP, and to me he's the best basketball player ever. But you know, fast forward, you know, we're in the process of chasing the 41 at this particular time, and
nice,
I think it's probably 2016-ish. And we're lifelong duck hunters, lifelong hunters, outdoorsmen, if you will. And, you know, just like anybody in small town USA, whether it be Alabama or wherever, you know, you start out chasing ducks, everybody thinks they got to have a mud motor. And we were no different. We started out with a flat bottom boat and a trolling motor. That, you know, saved up a little money. Bought a used mud motor and a used old rusty looking, I don't know, some kind of boat, I don't know. But anyway, we really started hitting it pretty hard, I guess after college, if you will. Once we went pro at something besides athletics, like the NCAA says. But we decided we were going to go down and hunt, you know, in the Gulf there, South Alabama, and had a great time. And we took an 1860 War Eagle, and man, we had a good time. Got soaking wet. You know, it's just a metal bathtub with a motor on it. And then that 18-foot War Eagle got sold, and I bought a 21-foot Sea Ark. And my wife wanted a family boat, if you will, and I wanted a hunting boat. I said, well, you know, we can pull an inner tube and skiers with a camouflage boat.
Sure, 100%.
But you can't duck hunt out of a yellow or a red or a green boat. I mean, I want to, you know, I mean, what's the color matter? So anyway, I kind of won out, and we went to go buy a new War Eagle 961 Blackhawk. It's what I envisioned me wanting, side console. And I'm an Auburn fan, so War Eagle boat, I just like the name.
Not Roll Tide.
No, not Roll Tide. No.
Josh Butler, thinking of you, we are.
Big Nick Saban fan, definitely an Auburn fan, but got a bunch of buddies that are Alabama fans, and you're one of the two in Alabama. There is no straddling the fence. I mean, there is no straddling the fence. But back to the story.
I'm sorry.
When I come home, or when I went to look at the War Eagle, it was actually a Sea Ark dealership and a War Eagle dealership, and the Sea Ark had camouflage couches down the side, and it's an easy 200. Well, my wife, all right, I get my pontoon couches, you get your camouflage boat, we're both happy, this is the one. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, that's more expensive than the Black Hawk. And she was like, look, I want the couches. And I was like, well, I want the camouflage boat, so that's what we got. And when we come pulling up in it, of course, you know, a couple of my buddies are sitting there at the house. And they're like, where are you going to hide this big old boat? I was like, guys, it's 3 foot longer than the other boat. We're going to use the exact same blind. Same Avery Quickset blind. And they're like, this is never going to work. You're never going to be able to kill ducks in this thing. I mean, this is the biggest camouflage boat I've ever seen. Like, this is a huge boat. This is ridiculous. This thing is ridiculously big. So, I mean, here I am thinking, you know, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I did buy a big, stupid boat. I don't know. So, anyway, we literally had just pulled in with this boat. And we walk up the stairs, and when we walk up the stairs...
There you go.
Awesome. When we walk up the stairs, we go upstairs. The ladies go in one living room, guys go in another. And me and my buddy Ryan, that we're now in TC Duck Club,
When, see what happened? Just happened. I just went and it's gone.
It evaporated.
It did, but it's
Cup
coming.
and all.
But it's coming back, I think. But I'm sorry. I'm giving you a chance to take a drink. That's what I was doing.
That's good.
Because I went to take a drink, but my Yeti's gone. So anyway, TC Duck Club.
we go. The ladies go in one room, guys go in another. Well, we go in and immediately turn on Drake's Migration Nation. I'd had them DVR'd, and anyway, we pull up, and it just so happens it was used in Ocean City, Maryland, and it was like a brand new episode, And
yeah, that was the first year of the new host. Yes, thank you, love.
And everybody is like glued to the TV, and I'm like, dude, we can do this. Like, we can do this. I mean, this guy, look at this boat. And I think you had like one or two guys in front of you, maybe three guys in front of you, and single engine on the back. And I'm thinking, look, he's in a metal boat. We're in a metal boat. He's got three people in the boat. There's three of us. We can do this. Well, everybody was like, man, that's Maryland. We're in Alabama. That's 15 hours away. And I was like, look, I'm going. Any of y'all want to go? Well, Ryan is my do or die. Like,
have you showed up here before?
I have been here
with your boat. Because there was the ramp that we used. There was an Alabama boat. I never so
that's me.
So Mark Spagnola. He
was there.
He talked
to us.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
because he's always texting back and forth, calling me. He's like, "Man, there's guys from Alabama here," and I told him, like, it's the ocean. Like, you're going out in the ocean.
And then I'm so glad you validated this. I'm glad you've heard this, or I'm glad you know that I'm not bullcrapping you.
There was a trailer from North Carolina once, and there was a trailer from Alabama. And he was like, "Man, these guys from Alabama." He's like, "They think they're just going to go out there and shoot sea ducks."
So, all right. So this is where the story starts. This is where the sickness. This is where my addiction.
The seed was planted.
And I'm not sure that my wife. I need to erase the text message with your address because my wife probably doesn't need to meet you. But so anyway, we are forming a plan, and nobody but me and Ryan would go. And Ryan's my do or die, and I actually named my son after this guy. But anyway. We're getting a plan together, and he was like, well, what are we going to use as decoys? I was like, man, I got some ring neck decoys downstairs. And I said, all those old trash decoys that we got up there in the shed? I said, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take them down there to my grandmother's greenhouse and lay them out on the greenhouse tables, and we'll spray paint them all black, and we'll spray paint the bills yellow. He said, that's awesome. Let's do that. So we go down in flat black, just cover them all flat black, and just one yellow dot of yellow, black scoter.
Yep.
So anyway, we knew we couldn't artistically get the surf or white wing. So anyway, we do that. And I was like, well, have you ever long line decoys? And he was like,
it can't be that hard.
I was like, it can't be that hard. I mean, he's doing it by himself, Ryan. How hard can it be?
That hard.
So, we had a swimming pool in the backyard. So we get my wife had, like a barbell, like those barbells that women work out with. So I went in and commandeered that, confiscated it, and tied paracord to the barbell and just dropped it off the diving board. I said, now, give me one of them decoys. So, again, the only thing we could come up with was shower curtain clips.
Okay.
So we used shower curtain clips and paracord, dropped the barbell to the bottom of the pool. And I got me a bunch of slack, and I started tying overhand knots. I tied me an overhand knot, put a shower curtain clip on it, put the decoy on there, pulled me out about 3 arms length, about 3 foot of cord, tied an overhand knot, threw another one in there. And I'm like, hey, look, we ain't got to anchor this in. We'll just let it go wherever we want to. We just need one in. That ain't no problem. Look, I mean, the wind will keep it straight. We don't need but one anchor. It's no problem. Just let them free float. I said, we'll just move the boat. And he was like, dude, I think this is going to work. So, again, we get us a plan together, and we didn't have anything but square tubing. I was looking at your little round weights in here.
So those are window sash weights.
So we use square tubing.
Okay.
So I got me a eye bolt and blew a hole in it with a cutting torch, put a nut on it, and we wound the paracord all up on the thing, not make a mess or get it tangled up.
What do you remember? Approximately what did they weigh? Your
the square tubing,
roughly.
the square tubing probably 5 to 10 pounds.
Okay.
So we're thinking we've got it figured out. We formulated a plan. We've put all the redneck ingenuity that we had between us together, and we throw everything in the boat. Well, my wife now, she loves a trip. So me and Ryan and Jennifer's the only 3 that would go. Everybody else is afraid of drowning, I guess, or had more sense than to do this. So we leave out one Thursday afternoon right after school, and we drive all night long. And we get here, and we get held up in traffic. And anyway, we're going to hunt on Saturday morning at this boat, at this particular boat launch. So again, I've never had this boat in the water, never cranked it. We filled it up with gas like right before we got into Ocean City, and we talked to people over there. You're not even supposed to have trailers on the island. We begged, stealed, and borrowed, told them we didn't know. Please. Well, they let us park on an old back lot, and they said, if you get a ticket, it's not us. You can park here. But anyway, so next morning, sure enough, we wake up. We're going to be early. Like we are going to be early. Like we're going to be the first ones there. There's no sense in being second place. Second place is the first loser. So we get to the boat ramp, and Jeff Coates' truck and trailer is gone. And I'm like, this guy, does he live here? So anyway, your truck and trailer was sitting there. Ryan backs me in, and when he backs me in, I immediately turn the light bar on. And again, at this time, I've not seen your boat, your duck water. And he turns the lights on, or I turn the lights on, the GPS, navigation, everything. We're radio, man, we're professional. We're fixing to go sea duck hunting. So about that time,
in the Atlantic Ocean. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
about this time, another guy comes in, and he had didn't know him from Adam's House Cat. I just knew what kind of truck you drove. And anyway, this guy comes in, and he backs in right beside of me, and it looked like he had a mobile home on a trailer. And I'm like, well, maybe this boat ain't as big as people were saying it is. And he backs in like right beside of us, and Ryan's walking across the parking lot. And Ryan's not like, he's not a jerk, but he's not one that's going to take a lot of lip from anybody. And I'm thinking, God, please don't talk to Ryan. Please, sir, just back on in. Just don't talk to him.
Where are you all from?
So he rolled the window down and said, where are y'all from? And he said, oh, no. He rolled the window down, and he said, are y'all going with Jeff? Ryan said, who the hell is Jeff? He said, Jeff Coates. He said, buddy, I ain't got no idea who that is. He said, I'm from Alabama. He said, y'all from Alabama?
You got a Maryland resident with you?
Well, I'm getting to that. He said,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your story.
He said, buddy, I'm from Alabama. He said, well, what part of the bay y'all hunting? He said, we didn't drive from Alabama to hunt no bay. We're going out the end of that pier and hook a left. He said, well, y'all better be back in here pretty early. He said, it's going to get bad today. And so anyway, we get in the boat, and we go on out. And when we pull out, y'all had went out to the right, and instead of going straight out, we just hooked to the left to kind of stay away from y'all. But you open ocean, you could kind of see what everybody's doing. So we're we go way down there, courteous, give them locals, y'all would still have enough room where you were.
Yep. We
went way on down. And the graph was showing there's a spot out there about, 56 foot deep, seems like 46 foot deep. Like, what you got to be over 800 yards off the shore. And anyway, so we get out there, and we drop our paracord with our deal in it.
And it just keeps going?
It just keeps going. I'm like, all right, hand me another weight. So we cut it, and we're dropping some more paracord down to there. And I'm like, God, this is deep. So anyway, we get to the end of the string, and we put the first 2 or 3 decoys on there, and they just immediately break the shower curtain clip, because
keep pulling.
It just keeps pulling them under. And so anyway, we finally get some decoys set out. We got like 2 lines over here, like 2 lines on this side of the boat and 2 lines on this side of the boat. We're going to park the boat right in the middle. Like we've got 4 lines out. We had a bunch of spray painted decoys. And I had my dog Pat with me. And Pat's name is Ryan's Touchdown and PAT. Ryan's my little boy. And Pat is like a family member. And anyway, we shoot down the first sea duck I ever shot, Drake Old Squaw. It come straight in, like right as it's about to lighten the decoys, shoot, miss. Shoot, miss. Shot it. Just splattered it. It's right out in the middle of the decoys on the condo side of us. Pat. Send Pat out there. She goes out there and gets it, comes back. Shark, as long as the boat, swims right through the middle of the 2 lines of decoys. Pat's done. Clip old Pat up. So now I'm freaked out because the shark, I have never seen a shark that big, except on TV. They made a movie out of it, Jaws. So I'm freaked out a little bit now. And the wind's starting to pick up just a tad. I mean, when we went out that morning, it was as slick as this tabletop. And
you do have your Maryland resident with you, right?
Absolutely not. So, and we had talked to the game warden. But anyway, we could see y'all out here, and morning rock's on, and we had a good hunt and everything. Me and him shot our limit, and y'all had picked up, y'all had come in, and y'all had. I just remember the guys that hit that. Whoever that guy was, and I don't know if it's that Mark Spagnola guy. I don't know.
I'm guessing that it was.
I don't know who it was, but anyway, they were the last ones to go back in. And I told Ryan, I said, look, if they can stay out here, we're staying out here. I mean, he ain't tougher than we are. I mean, we're from Alabama. So anyway.
War Eagle.
So anyway, we start trying to pick up the decoys, and the wind's starting to really blow. And it's probably 8:30, 9 o'clock by this time. And the wind's like, by my definition, really blowing is probably really, really, really blowing by yours. And I'm nosing into the wind, and Ryan's trying to pull again, because we've only got them in, just
one side.
One side. Yeah. And they're all, as you may have guessed by now,
bunched up.
They're all bunched up and tangled up. So Ryan's just trying to drag decoys in here. Some of them are, 20-foot stringers over here and 8-foot stringers over here, and some of them is just looks like this picnic table. So I'm nosed into the wind. It's just us two. So I've got it nosed into the wind, and I pull back to like not wanting to get caught up in the motor. So I reach and grab the decoys, and I pull them and I throw them out as far as I can. And I wasn't really paying attention, and the boat just kind of turns around, and now the motor is into the wind. And a wave breaks over the back of the boat and just fills the floor of the boat full. And our eyes are as big around as this bottle. I mean, they're just bug-eyed.
Yep.
And I told him, I said, cut them loose. And he's like, you don't want to get them? I said, get a life jacket. Forget the decoys, just get a life jacket. So anyway, he gets, the only life jackets we had was the little orange Gilligan life jackets. And we put those life jackets on. Well, excuse me. He gets his, puts his on, and then gives me mine. Like, I don't care if you die, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to be cold, I'm going to be wet, but I'm going to be safe. You can drown. So I get mine later.
Or be shark bait.
Yep. So I get in the driver mode, and I'm freezing to death. It seems like it was New Year's Day. Okay. And I'm getting driver mode. I've got my game face on. And, you drive up the wave. And, again, we're in 6-7 footers now in a 21-foot metal bathtub. And, like, it was as slick as this table when we went out. And it's bad going back in. And we're wide open. And as soon as you get the bow of the boat to the top of the wave, we're pulling it back. And it's trimmed all the way down to keep the nose up. And we're, and just praying the nose doesn't go under. And some of them, we're launching the whole boat out of the waves, and then it's just
smacking,
hitting another one. Yep. So, but that's all. I mean, just praying the welds hold together. So anyway, we're soaking wet. We've got ice all over us, and we're pulling back into the inlet, and the inlet looks like a washing machine. And I'm like, well, this is where we're going to die. I'm going to get to meet Jesus right here beside this Ferris wheel. So, like, we get to going, and it, like, plows into the front, and I just hammer it. And it literally launches the whole boat motor and all up. And boom, it rattles, and I get it back straight, and then pull it back, and then hammer it again. And it comes out, and we finally get in the inlet, and it's calm again. So we immediately, and there's people like walking their dog and like up on the like
New
up
Year's
on the
Day,
beach.
man. The people have been jumping in the ocean. They did the polar bear plunge. Everybody's sitting. Oh, I didn't know you were there, love. They got their coffee. They're sitting there just watching what there is to watch. Right.
So we get into that inlet, and we immediately start taking those stupid little styrofoam life jackets off, and we're cramming them back up under there, and we take those wet outer layer jackets off. We cram them under there too, and now we're
Say damn right.
And now we got the radio playing, and we ease back up in the inlet, and I'm sitting there, and I'm getting closer, and I'm getting closer, and I'm getting closer, and I could see the guy that we had talked to that morning up there at the boat ramp, and all they're taking pictures and stuff, and he's standing on the I don't remember if it was him or one of the guys with him. But somebody is standing on the little pier, the dock, and they're doing this. I kept thinking, what marine vessel signal is this? I'm like, I'm not even going. I mean, we're barely moving. I knew I wasn't making a wake, and I thought he was wanting me to park over here. I didn't know what he was talking. He's doing this like over and over, and I'm get up there and I'm like, buddy, what's going on? And
He survived.
He's like, you got balls this big. He said, there's no way I'd have been out there in that boat. And I was like, oh man, we never doubted it for a minute. I mean, we're like, our pants are yellow and wet from the waist down where we peed ourselves. One, to stay warm, and two, because we're scared to death. But it's 1,000 wonders we didn't die, and we did not learn our lesson there. We actually took that same boat and went on up to Massachusetts and smoother sailing the next year. That's when we carved the decoys in the as a shop class project. Yep. And then we decided, man, we've got it really figured out. We're going to Washington State. That's where the rubber met the road, and that's where the boat met the bottom. We sunk that Sea Ark in the Puget Sound in Washington State. And I actually ordered my duck water from the beach. And I've duck hunted in duck water ever since. But it's 1,000 wonders we didn't get killed. Which,
there's a whole bunch I want to say to that, but kind of spins it back around when I said via Long Island. You got your new duck water right there.
Yeah, we went, and it was new to me, duck water, and I went and picked it up, and I say Ryan's my do or die, but he's a farmer, and this wet weather's not doing a whole lot of favors to the farmers in Northeast Alabama, and he couldn't get cut loose, and he's got a young little boy, and my wife is a school teacher, and they've got teacher work days, and so she's got to finish up with school this week, so I just tore out and left, and I got about halfway. I'm about to Virginia, and I was talking to Charlie Somerville on the phone, and he mentioned you. I don't remember what was brought up about you or whatever while we were talking.
That I'm sexy?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay, that sounds
could
right.
Be. And
I'm sorry I had to say that.
And anyway, it just dawned on me. I was like, hey, I'm coming back. And we've been up the East Coast several times, and we'll go as far as we're going to plan on going, and then just hunt our way back towards Alabama. Sure. And that way, when you're last day hunting, you're just closer to home.
Yep.
And anyway, I was like, I don't know why I didn't throw one of those dadgum decoys that we carved in the truck. And it never crossed my mind. Of course, when you don't have a whole lot of cognitive power, there's only so many ideas that'll fit in your brain at one time. But I am really, really pumped to be here.
Well, I'm glad that you made it. And how hard is it to get here? Basically a text or a phone call, right?
Well, it's basically a phone call to get here. But now when you're driving a boat through road construction in New York, coming off Long Island, trying to stay off the parkway, and they reroute you into downtown New York, and you can't go through the Holland Tunnel, and you got to get to the Lincoln Tunnel. And
You went through a tunnel or the bridge?
we went I went through the Lincoln Tunnel and then went over bridges, and I've spent about 2 months' salary with toll bridges. So anyway, the place is awesome. Again, I follow you on all the social media platforms and everything, and I remember y'all putting a little black plastic down and bringing in the gravel and spreading it with your tractor and bush hogging, before any of this was built. But y'all have done a great job with the place.
You're very kind. Thank you. Eat a cracker. I'm going to turn your mic off so you can go crunch, because there's so much that I want to say. And if you want to talk, tell me and I'll turn it back on. But that way we won't hear the crunching. But so there's two, again, states, tags, trailer tags. Mark did tell me the story about, man, there's these guys from Alabama. And he's like, I told him this, that, the other. And I remember that story vividly. And that's when I said, that's why I asked you, was that you? Because Alabama. And then, wait, here, good. You can say it now.
It was me. Unfortunately, it's still me. It'll always be me.
And the second tag is a North Carolina. It was on down the Verrazano's Bridge, where a spot that you can't legally set up, right? And these guys, first off, I don't know about the whole Maryland resident thing, but they were in a spot. Doesn't matter if they had a Maryland resident with them; they shouldn't have been where they were. And I do vividly remember that day, and you could see them right from the ramp. It was there's they had the pop up blind and whatever, and but those are we do, especially during the between Christmas and New Year's. I think that's if we're going to see other people, especially when the season was more liberal, when it was 107 days long, when the bag limit was bigger. Definitely between Christmas and New Year's, that's when generally and typically we would see other people here.
Well, and what kind of got me interested was obviously the TV show. Well, I'm a shop teacher, hunter safety education teacher, so I don't need a ticket. Well, I researched everything that I could find in Alabama about hunting ducks in Maryland. Well, I knew you had to be so far off the shore, blah, blah, blah. And I actually called the Maryland Game and Fish several different times and told an officer, a game warden, hey, we're coming to Maryland. We're going to hunt in Ocean City. This is what we want to do. How deep's the water? He said it varies or whatever, anywhere from 40 to 50 feet to hundreds of feet. And anyway, I talked to him several different times. They never mentioned having a Maryland resident with you. Never. And, the guys at the boat ramp told us that. And we thought he was messing with us. Nope. Well, we leave the boat ramp, going over to the little restaurant beside
Harborside.
Right beside the thing. And we're sitting in there, just having lunch. And we didn't know anybody. We're just sitting in there and asked the guy, I said, the weather's getting pretty bad. I said, is there anywhere you can hunt, out of this wind tomorrow? He said, tomorrow's Sunday. I was like, well, yeah. Today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday. Ding, ding, ding. You got that one right. So, and he said, well, you can't hunt in Maryland on Sunday. And me and my buddy just looked at each other and we drove 15 hours to hunt for 3 hours and nearly get killed, and we were breaking the law the whole time. He said, well, I just don't buy into that Maryland resident crap. He said, he probably just don't want us up here. He said, he was the guy that was telling me we needed to come back in early. I said, he was right about that. We should have come in early. And
Mark,
anyway, sure enough, when we get back home,
because I got excuse me, Karen's sitting off to the right here. No one knows, but I heard this whole story about, hey man, there's these guys from Alabama, and they were this. I was in, and we got done. We were out, so I never really saw him. But he's like, yeah man, there was these guys from Alabama, and they were out there, and I told them they should have somebody with them. And anyway, I'm sorry.
It would have been so much easier, so much less headache, so much less eventful in a good way, I guess I would say. It makes for a good story now on the podcast, but if we would have just got somebody to drive us to Atlanta, hop on an airplane, and fly into wherever and just rent a car, spend the night. We could have hunted Friday and Saturday, but because we were going to DIY it, we got up here and got to hunt for 3 hours. And I'm like,
Could have called Jeff Coates.
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. We should have just went with.
But would you have had as much fun?
Probably. Yes. I mean, there's nothing you can do to justify that hunt versus your hunt because, I mean, now that we didn't die, that's the only fun part that we had. Like, we got wet, we got cold, we made a fool out of ourselves. Of course, now, I mean, people on the internet go viral, doing stupid stuff. If that's what makes people go viral, if we had a video of that hunt, and we would be like epic, like, because. Golly bum. When the I mentioned the old squall.
Sure.
It come in, I'm sitting in the back of the boat and Ryan is sitting in the front of the boat and the condos
you're anchored from the bow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the condos are out here.
Yep.
And the old squall come in just by itself. And it was just literally, it was right there where the fire pit is. I mean, it's maybe the edge of the concrete over there. Yep. I mean, not way in range. Yep. And you can see that white bird coming forever. And I was like, Ryan, coming from your right. Old squall. So he was like, nope, I ain't shooting that. I said, dude, that's an old squall. Shoot that duck. Shoot that dang bird. He's like, I ain't shooting no seagull. I didn't come up here to shoot no seagull. And I said, dude, that's not a seagull. It's a dadgum old squall. He said, I ain't never even heard of it. He said, our ducks are black. I ain't shooting it. And we're having this conversation. So this bird, you know how fast they fly. I mean, we could see it forever. And we watched you with your black flag.
Yep. You
know what our black flag was?
I can only imagine now with this story.
A North Jackson football. That's the school I was working at the time. It was a North Jackson coach's pullover, black, because our goose flag blew out of the back of the truck along with 2 dozen zipper bag, Avery zipper bag, foam-filled ring neck decoys.
Okay.
The only good decoys we had, they blew out on the way up here. And all we had was a sweatshirt. So Ryan's sitting there, he's sitting in the swivel seat, and he's waving that sweatshirt. And he said all that about that old squall, and finally it come in, and I'm like, shoot, miss, shoot, miss, shoot, crushed it. And I'm like, finally. And I was like, dude, that is a dadgum old squall. He said, you just killed a seagull. And he said, just make sure you claim it when the game warden shows up. And I was like, that's fine. Well, anyway, I've got that. I've got that old squall mounted in my hallway now. So,
and you could check it off the list.
Check it off the list.
He could have checked it off the list.
Yeah, he thought it was a seagull.
He didn't want to check the seagull.
We had no idea. We had no idea. No business being out there. No business being out there.
So there's lots that popped in my mind as you're telling this story. So I'm going to kind of try to work from now to minutes ago. But that was the first year of the new host for Migration Nation, Drake's Migration Nation, and we had turned into Karen, but we had Larry Heineman. So he was there, kind of giving us kind of the sign. He was the head of the Maryland Waterfowl, as well as going to the Ungava Peninsula and very instrumental in counting our AP Canada goose. But I had Larry one day, and then the next day I had Pat Vincenti and Scott Moody. So it was a 2-day hunt. And if you recall, Karen, I should have you mic'd up, sorry. The Saturday when David showed up for the B-roll footage, it was, oh man. I see him all the time on Instagram. He's always wearing kuyu. He's out shooting elk. Arbanzik. Anyway, there were young guys that were from like Michigan, Wisconsin. They were there on Saturday. It was 3 of them. And this is the first. So how many years ago was that? It was like 07. No, it would have been 13. Okay. That's the first year that I probably felt really old because they came in on a Friday, and where you went and at Harborside, I assume it's Harborside you went to, they said they ate at Harborside. I said, man, did you guys get orange crushes? And I'm up in the boat handing, they're handing gear up to me like, Jeff, like, we're not old enough to drink. And I'm like, fuck. Like that was, I'm like, damn, like you guys, like I have a daughter older than you guys. Like maybe that was the first time maybe in the past 12 years ago that I felt old. But they were like, we can't drink. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't, But anyway, that was that weekend, and that was the first edition of kind of the revamped Drake's Migration Nation. So it was easy to do too. It's what I do, and I didn't have to travel. David came in and filmed, and yeah, so it was all good. Yeah, you do need a Maryland resident to hunt offshore waters. So if you came to, anybody can come from, as long as you have a Maryland license, any public property, you can do anything you want to do. But it comes into when you want to get that, when you want to be beyond 800 yards offshore, that's when you need to have the Maryland resident with you. And back in the day, I had to go buy a $5.50 gunning rig license to be able to, quote, be legal to go do that. And there was a boat size requirement, length and or gunnel height off the water. Now, people always say, hey, they're just doing this to protect you as a guide. I was like, no, man, I think they're doing it to protect the guy from Kansas that thinks he's going to come. No offense.
The guy from Alabama.
I guess I could have said Alabama, that they're going to come in it, but like a kayak or canoe and go out in Chesapeake Bay or go out wherever and like think they're going to go shoot sea ducks or shoot something on the open water, right? Canvasbacks, kind of thing, and they're going to get themselves in trouble. So I think that's really where the old $5.50 gunning rig license came into play. And then when some of the rules, legislation got adjusted, they just said, hey, you don't have to buy that the gunning rig license anymore. But let's make it that they have to have a Maryland resident. And if you really want to, history here in Maryland, if you really want to rewind to the turn of the century, all the sink boxes that were on the Susquehanna Flats, it was $2.50 for those guys to register their sink box rig to be residents for them to legally hunt from a sink box on the Susquehanna Flats. So I just think the regulation and the fees have been something that's been instilled with us, many, 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 many years ago. So that said, but I can commiserate, maybe is a good word. Back in the day, it was a Ducks Unlimited edition Polarcraft, 18-foot. There weren't the short tail mud motors. It was the Go Devil. So that's how old I am. I had a 20-horse Go Devil on this thing, and we were shooting canvasbacks, maybe someplace that we shouldn't have been shooting canvasbacks. And we were shooting from land, but we used the boat to get there. A little squall popped up, and the boat, basically on the beach, the boat got swamped. And that experience was what made me. I wanted a 17 TDB. Back in the day, that was the biggest boat, the duck boat. It was made in... It made in Maine, and now it's currently made in Massachusetts. The Olsen brothers, Olsen family, are making the TDB, the duck boat. But that's how I got my 17 TDB, where I had an experience in a Polarcraft. You said Avery Quickset blind. Supposedly, I had the number 4 Avery Quickset blind sold way back in the day. Tom Matthews told me that. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But he said, yeah, man, we used to have to write UPS, we used to have to write by hand, like no computers. He said, I went down and looked at the list. He says, you were the fourth one that we shipped out. So I did have that way back in the day, but that would have been probably in like 1995 or 96.
Well, we found out real quick that Avery Quickset, in order to have enough material, it Velcros up at the top, and it's got the little rail that folds down, which is far superior than anything else that I've ever hunted in as far as boat blind. But where the Avery Quickset kind of lacks, in my opinion,
is shortcomings, shall we say.
Like when the wind picks up, the material flops. So now it's like you've got a big camouflage flag waving at them. And we never... We had it on the Sea Ark when we were coming up here. We never used it. And then, of course, it was like we discovered fire when we figured out what a layout boat was. And, I like he got killed. My stepdad can do anything. Like, he can do anything. And he built a homemade layout boat minus the spray shield. And I'm sitting in no telling how deep the water is.
That Hummingbird was close. I'm sorry.
It was.
He was on the inside of us.
I'm sitting in a layout boat in Michigan on the Great Lakes before daylight, and the layout boat fills up with water with me sitting in it, water up to my belly button.
And no flotation.
And well, I did have a life jacket.
No, the boat had no flotation.
Not a lick.
Yeah.
No, it's homemade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It had no
And
flotation.
we loved it in the swimming pool, hated it in the Great Lakes, and that's where I met.
Test voyage in the swimming pool.
That's where I met one of my really good buddies, and Brandon Hall is still one of my really good buddies. We bought his layout boat at the boat ramp because we were going to Washington State, and we didn't want to get back in this one. And we're still buddies. I actually talked to him about 20 minutes before I pulled up.
Nice.
And it's just unbelievable to. And I say this with Rod Merritt or Ramsey Russell or Captain Charlie or Will Mosley from American Idol. No matter who you meet, from Bourgeois Charters to Maine with Rod Merritt and Captain Charlie from Island X, or Ramsey Russell's been everywhere. You're the Pitboss here in Maryland. Like, you can go anywhere in America and find somebody having a bad day, but if you are genuinely trying to find the best in people and I guess show people respect. I mean, the duck hunting community, it's just, I'm blown away. No matter where we go, there's always somebody that's, reaches out and like, hey, how are y'all? Are y'all duck hunters? And we would never get to meet somebody like you had we not been in the waterfowl community. And, we're extremely, we're huge fans, but I'm extremely grateful to, just get set here. I mean, it's awesome.
Well, we appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Because if you had no interest, you would have no interest to be here, right?
I guess so. But I kind of feel, being here is kind of like killing the 41. I mean, it's awesome, but where do you go from here? I mean, what do I do tomorrow? That's
you're headed to Alabama, man.
Oh, we're gonna chew up the asphalt to Alabama.
Yeah.
But when we were trying to kill the 41, we done it as a group, and we've done it with a 12 gauge, and we're doing it with a 20 gauge, and I've got a buddy out in Texas that's doing it with the rubber duck 410.
I've spoken with him. I say we've spoken with message back and forth.
JJ's a good guy, and he's a go-getter now. Mm-hmm. He's cut from the same cloth we are, but again, he's from Texas. I've never met the guy, but we're just bosom buddies. Like we were talking like two little high school girls, like middle school girls. We were on the phone the other night till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. My wife got up to get something to drink, and in the middle of the night, and she was like, "Are you on the phone?" It's like the State Farm commercial. Who are you talking to? JJ. Oh, what's JJ wearing? Khakis. And anyway, we were just. I mean, he's cut from the same cloth we are, and we've met so many buddies. I mentioned Brandon Hall that I met at a boat ramp in Michigan. We bought his layout boats at the boat ramp, and he's brought his family, wife and kids down and spent the weekend or spent the week with us, and he's been down hunting with us, and we've been back up there walleye fishing and hunting on the Great Lakes, and we even went to Jamaica to the Sandals Resort. Nice. And so we don't meet many strangers, and we've met some really, really good folks.
So let's do a good. I'm stuttering. Let's do a good segue, because you have been very kind to offer Karen and I to come down and do your dove shoot in September.
Hey, we'd love to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But we have not talked about what really is TC Duck Club. So tell me about TC Duck Club.
All right,
what is it really?
TC Duck Club is Terrapin Creek. I told my buddy up at Dockside Marine today, I said, y'all would call it a river. Everything's a river up there, but down in Hickville, Alabama, Terrapin Creek is just a creek. I mean,
what's a terrapin?
It's a fish.
No.
Turtle. Turtle. I'm sorry.
It's the Maryland State Turtle.
Crab cakes.
The Maryland
Crab
Terps.
cakes and football. That's what Maryland does. Maryland Terps.
There you go. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that on you like that, but I did want to know if you, because I wanted to say it's the Maryland State Turtle. Look at that beautiful regulator go by. It's a big one.
You don't see stuff like that in Alabama.
Really?
It's like mud motors and John boats.
I don't see any rods and reels, but that's Jake, and I'm sure I know he must go off and catch some tuna.
I'd love to eat some tuna.
We'd love some tuna too.
Let's call Jake and see if he wants. see if he needs a deckhand.
He doesn't have any rods or reels, but we could go to Crabs. We could go to Crabs to go and get some tuna. All right, sorry. Let's stop. Terrapin Creek, go.
All right, so TC Duck Club is Terrapin Creek Duck Club, and me and Ryan Law are lifelong buddies. We played on the same little league baseball team. We've rode millions of miles down there in those bottoms, whether it's on a tractor or a 4-wheeler or hot rodding his dad's truck, or we were just inseparable, and we still are. He's just. Everybody needs a Ryan Law in their life. Like Ryan Law has been a great friend to me. His parents were like second parents to me. I mean, they're just good folks. They're just really, really good folks. And we're just a couple years ago. I mentioned growing up in those bottoms. A couple years ago, he had a death in the family, and it was a substantial amount of land in one, area right there that, he owned land on both sides. And it just so happens that's, kind of the part where we duck hunted. And when the death in the family occurred, it was somewhat, unexpected, because, it was a cancer-related death, and it was really come on kind of quick. And anyway, when it happened, it was either going to go, sale or be auctioned, and I went with Ryan and I was like, look, man, if I have to, we're going to get this. If I need to mortgage my house, whatever we got to do. I said, I believe in you. I know you're going to pay it back. He's a farmer, and his dad's a farmer. I said, I'll take out a note on my house if we have to. We got to get it. Let's just end the discussion. You got to own this. So him and his sister and his parents, they forged out a plan, and Ryan was able to secure the property or whatever, and we ended up, continuously, we're continuing to hunt it. Now I'm stuttering like you were, but
I stutter all the time. I'm dyslexic too, and Karen says that I'm not, but I am dyslexic. So anyway, I had trouble spelling Brian or Brain. Did I not?
That's anyone.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But so we I've got a buddy named Brian, and we call him Brain.
There you go. See, so I have trouble spelling Brian. Is it Brian or Brain? I'm not sure.
Well, he's really, really smart, so it's fitting. But so anyway, we done it. We started TC Duck Club as kind of a way to pay for the property tax, and property tax, the grain that just gets wasted, standing in a flooded field, the diesel fuel, the herbicides, the pesticides, the equipment. There's a lot that went into it, and we went from sitting on a metal drainage ditch tile in a lightning storm and pouring down rain to thinking, hey, this may not be real smart. So we buried us a metal box that they call a pit. We buried it underground. That way we can get struck, and we'll be underground when we get struck by lightning. But I'm pretty sure both of them are still conductors of electricity. So, if it's lightning and raining, we're down there. So there's a good chance if cancer doesn't get me or a chicken truck or whatever, it'll probably be lightning in the duck hole. But that's really why we done it, is just a way to pay the property tax. And we morphed that into, it really just kind of took off. And stupidity played a major role in us taking off. Again, something to do with me and a boat. But TC Duck Club, kind of took off, and then we started trying to help a group called Kids Outdoors, and so we auctioned off or let those people auction off a hunt to benefit kids outdoors. And so last year was our first year that we tried to host public people, if you will. And I'm so dadgum nervous and OCD about stuff like that. It's tough to be a guide or do what you do. I don't know if they make enough blood pressure medicine for me to do it full time, but what really kind of took it off is, I drove my family to the Bahamas in a duckwater boat, and this is very well documented, but I drove my family we pulled the boat down to Miami, drove the boat over to Bimini, and on the way back, the water, again, was just slick as it could be, slick as glass, and I just didn't turn on my ship-to-shore radio. And the Coast Guard kept trying to get in touch with me for like 30 or 45 minutes. Well, they brought the cavalry. Like, they pulled up like they had caught Osama bin Laden. Like, airplane right over the top of the boat, Coast Guard cutter, go fast boats. They pulled up on us with assault rifles, machine guns, and I was like, what are y'all doing? I said, we're on vacation. They said, you got anything on the boat you shouldn't have? Nope. Nothing but this rusty knife, and I'm not attached to it. I'll throw it in the water. And they said, no, you're good. And I said, if we're good, can we leave? And he was like, no, I'm coming aboard your vessel. And I was like, oh, okay, you want me to put the anchor down? He said, no, we do this all the time. He's just over in there. So anyway, he said, you got anything on this boat you shouldn't have? I said, no, I don't reckon. And he said, you got any square grouper on the boat? And I said, well, buddy, I don't lie to you. I said, I'm a school teacher. I'm not a criminal. I said, I'm a duck hunter. I have no idea what kind of grouper we caught. I said, we caught some snapper, caught some grouper. I said, we caught all kind of fish. I ain't got no idea. I said, they're filleted and they're in that cooler right there. I said, I don't even like fish. My wife does. You can have my part. Matter of fact, you can have her part. Just take it all. He said, son, square grouper's cocaine.
Oh.
And I said, Lord, no. I said, the only Coke we got is in 12-ounce cans. You can have those too. I don't want those. I'm a diabetic. You can have every bit of them. I don't need any of it. But anyway, they were like, you expect us to believe you pulled a boat from Alabama to Miami and then drove your entire family to the Bahamas and then drove it back. I said, well, I don't care if you believe it or not. I said, I've got pictures on my phone if you'll let me get them out. He said, well, that's a long way to be dragging a boat, don't you think? I said, I was halfway to Tampa before I knew I left the house. I said, we drove it to Washington State during duck season. And one of the old boys in the boat, he said, well, I'm from Washington State. Where'd you go? I said, we come through Salt Lake City, hunted there, and then we hunted in Idaho. Then we come over the Snoqualmie Pass and dropped off into Seattle and took the ferry over to Port Townsend, Washington. He said, I think they're telling the truth. And I was like, well, I ain't gonna lie to you. I said, I ain't real good looking, but I'm way too pretty to end up in the Miami-Dade jail. I said, there's rapists and murderers and drug dealers and stuff in there. I said, I'm a school teacher. I said, I'd be somebody's girlfriend before dark. I said, I'm not going to jail. I said, I'm being as honest as I know how. But that's kind of what blew up TC Duck Club, and first things led to another. But we've been really, really blessed, and really and truly, between our stupidity and not being afraid to, call legends or superstars like you and Ramsey Russell and Rod Merritt and Captain Charlie and Will Mosley from American Idol, and just reach out and say, hey man, y'all want to go dove hunting? You want to go duck hunting? And everybody wants to have a good time.
Sure.
And again, the people that we see or try to interact with, like, they're just good folks. Like, there's nobody more open than like you. I mean, y'all both have been an open book, and you answer the phone. I mean,
I try to. Sometimes I don't. But I try to.
You don't owe us anything, and I can't tell you how much we've learned from you. I learned that paracord and shower curtain clips don't work, but we really do. We enjoy all the stuff you put on social media.
Thank you.
The dog training stuff. That to me is one thing that I kind of don't like about the Sea Duck hunting deal. You know, I throw my dog in the boat just to have her. You know, and depends on where we're hunting. If it's kind of a controlled situation, you know, maybe closer to shore, or what part of the country we're in, I'll let her go. But you know, again, that 14-foot tiger shark.
What year do you think you were here, roughly?
Oh Lord, I would say it would have been 16-ish.
Okay, so 2013. The duck boat was 25 feet long, and maybe the shark gets a foot longer here. Here, I'll turn you off. The shark gets a foot longer here or there, but it was the third week of December, and the tiger shark, we weren't very far off the beach, and the tiger shark was, you know, half the length of the boat. So I don't know, 12, 13, 14 foot. It was big. I remember the girth of the thing was like a 55-gallon drum. That's what I remember, the girth more than I remember the length. Booger was the dog that was in the water. Yeah, the shark obviously, well, maybe it's not obvious, did not make contact, but the thing was damn close, I'd say within 40 yards. And like kind of hit it with the boat. Like it just kind of kept, like it didn't really react, you know, to us.
The head, you know, you talk about the girth, the head of the shark that we saw looked like it was as wide as the back of that chair. Yep. I mean, I know this, it was way too close. And the boat we were in was way too little. Like I was ready to go right then. I mean, I don't like anything that doesn't have thumbs or shoulders. I don't like frogs, snakes, none of that. I can't do it.
Love, no one can hear you what you're saying. Nobody can hear you. So, but no one else can hear, so it's kind of irrelevant, is it not? All right, so Duckwater Boats, please say something to our good friend Steve Hoover, all the way in New Philadelphia, Ohio.
So, New Philadelphia, Ohio. I mentioned, you know, I sunk the boat in the Puget Sound in Washington State with my buddies and my dog and a bunch of stuff in the boat. Kind of a stupid idea to be doing what we were doing, but storm kind of blew up and there was just nowhere to go except that bank. And I knew that I didn't know who owned the property, but I knew that I'd rather be in jail, you know, in Washington State than I you know, in the graveyard in Center, Alabama or watery grave. So we just drove it up in somebody's backyard as far as we could drive it and sunk it. Then we caught our truck on fire with, because we run the winch so long trying to winch it out of the thing, it caught the battery cables on fire. So then we put the electrical fire out with salt water in a brand new F-250, and I called my roommate, and I asked him, I said, do I have to get this boat out of the water? And he said, well, if you want an insurance, you know, if you're going to file an insurance claim, you got to get it out of the water. I said, well, they filed a claim on Titanic, and they didn't got it out of the water. I said, you know, I'm cold. I could look down and see the water in my waders. So he was like, yeah, you got to get it out. So anyway, we got it out, and while I'm standing there wet, cold, and miserable, and short-tempered, I called Steve and ordered that boat. And anytime, you know, you want to talk about somebody that'll stand behind their product and kind of, you know, be there along the way. Like Steve Hoover has went above and beyond, you know, to answer the phone. You know, I would consider him a friend. I've never physically laid eyes on Steve but twice my entire life, and I mean, it seems like I know everything but Steve's DNA structure. And his social security number. But he's a really good buddy. Builds a heck of a boat. I've drug him all over the country. I drug him all over to the 2 or 3 countries. I've had him in Canada and the Bahamas and all over the United States. And you know, I've never had a minute's trouble out of him. And you know, he builds a heck of a boat. And you know, you just feel safe if you've ever been in an aluminum boat. I call them cookie cutter aluminum boats. No disrespect, but you know, they're pumping out all these boats. They're not made, you know, with the same thickness of aluminum, with the same durability, and to me, the same safety as you know, Steve's boats. But you know, other companies make boats, and you know, buy what you want with your money and do what you want to. But Steve's always been upfront and honest with me, and that's all you can ask for from a businessman. But I do love me some Steve Hoover.
There you go. Steve Hoover, thinking of you, we are. All right. Thank you for that. So yeah, you got your new boat. You're headed south, and how many months are we away from duck season? Well,
It's according to Ramsey Russell, it's duck season somewhere.
it is 100%. But so in September, specifically last year, you did not September. When was your Sam Hunt?
That
I just say hunt twice.
Sam Hunt.
Yeah. What was that? Tell
we
me
give
about
away a dove hunt.
That's what I want to talk
We
about.
give away a dove hunt last year, and our dove season's in September. But the Sam Hunt is.
You said it twice. Too.
Yeah, I said it twice too. The Sam Hunt Extravaganza.
There you go.
The Sam Hunt Ultimate Outdoor Giveaway, I guess you would say, will be the President's Day weekend in January. So that long weekend, and we picked that weekend so somebody could fly in on Friday night and hunt Saturday, Sunday, and then spend the night and fly out Monday.
Time out. Sunday hunting?
Oh, we got Sunday hunting. You got to make it. You got to make it. You got to make it to church after you get done. We go to a little church called Tate's Chapel Baptist Church, and my childhood preacher was the interim preacher there for a while. So the preacher's wife kind of, she's not afraid to tell you what you need to do, and she's known me my whole life. So she told me I better get my tail to church, and so did my wife. So between those two, I've tried to do a lot better about attending. But we do hunt on Sunday, and my wife and Ryan's wife does a lot of the cooking, and I do a lot of the cooking, and it's all inclusive type deal. And anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
So you're doing that hunt this year too?
We are, yes, sir.
So how does everyone follow along with a chance to get entered into winning, shall we say?
And I really wish, and hopefully y'all will make it down to the dove shoot. We're expecting, a really, really big following, if you will.
Yep.
And one ticket gets you into every bit of it. The gun drawings, the hunts. And this year we're going to drop something that I would off camera, off air. I'll mention everything I can, but we're going to drop something this year as far as what we're doing with Sam that's going to melt the internet. It's going to be really big. We got two things going.
Should I hit pause real quick?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to hit pause.
Okay. So anyway, I really think this year's hunt is going to be spectacular. Just because of if you do something and you're not trying to get better at it, then you're getting worse. And
good.
I think we've changed some things up that's really gonna attract some attention.
Nice.
It's awesome.
I want to hear about that when I hit stop. But I don't believe that Karen knows anything about the camo wrapped F-150. Tell everyone about that.
So I'm sitting there. I'm a Facebook Marketplace fiend. I love a good deal. It doesn't matter.
Time out. Can you find us a 4-wheeler?
Yeah, I've got
or a side by side?
I've got you. That's no problem.
Karen's rolling her eyes. All right, go ahead. I'm
That's
sorry.
no problem. I can have you one here. I can have you one here in 15 minutes.
You love Facebook Marketplace. Go. I'm sorry.
So I love Facebook Marketplace, and you ask about a 4-wheeler. I bought a jet ski Saturday morning, like right after breakfast. The guy, I said, "Hey, if you'll drive it to the house, I'll buy it from you." And he did, and I bought it. My wife was like, "Why? Who buys a jet ski?" I think it's a good deal. I turned around and put it on the market for sale. I mean, if I can make $5 on it, look, I ride it for a second and sell it. So yeah, I can find you a 4-wheeler. But anyway, I'm on Facebook. I'm just scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through the feed. I'm checking all the inbox stuff and messages from people and accepting or denying friend requests, whether they're phony, whatever. I'm just doing my best, so nobody posts something about another knife that I need to buy or something. But anyway, I'm sitting there, and a local guy there in my town had a a truck that they're going to waffle off. And around Center, Alabama, they call it waffle because you can't raffle something on Facebook.
Yep.
So it's a waffle. And anyway, so they're going to waffle this truck off. And you buy a slot. So you just say whatever slot you want. And I thought, well, that's a pretty good deal. I'm no good at numbers, so I just pick up the phone, call them. I was like, hey, just give me 2 numbers. I don't care which one. Just put me down. I'll get you the money. Well, about 2 weeks later, I'm just sitting around the house, and my phone starts blowing up. I'm like, hey, you've won the truck. What truck? The waffle truck. What waffle truck? And well, you said you wanted, 2 numbers, and I put you down. You owe me $200. And I was like, are you serious? I've won the truck? And he's like, yeah, you won the truck. So I ended up, I mentioned I coach high school football. I ended up just giving the truck I ended up giving the truck to TC Duck Club. And because the school can't raffle anything off, but TC Duck Club can. So we ended up raffling off the camouflage truck. And we had a bunch of prizes and stuff, and coolers and fishing rods and all kind of stuff inside the truck, and we give the money to the school, and we're buying new chrome helmets, like Maryland all these colleges have chrome helmets, so we're buying chrome football helmets.
Side note, just personal curiosity, what brand are they?
Helmets?
Yeah, just curious.
The new Speed Flex?
I don't know.
Rydell?
Okay. Are there still bike helmets?
No bike helmets. Everything now is like Vices, Speedflex, which is Rydell, and then Shut.
Okay. Well,
F7s.
I had bike helmets when I played, so that's why I was just curious.
Yeah, we had my 9th grade year. We had the Russell, and Russell's from Alabama, so back then Auburn, Alabama, everybody wore Russell, but the jerseys that come up above your belly. But man, if the kids had to wear the jerseys I played in, and the shoulder pads look like a transformer out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now the pads are like thin as a water bottle. Kids wouldn't play and wear what we had to wear. I mean, we were not fashionable. Now they've got to have color match tape and eye black and 2 different color cleats, and man, I'm like, you really need all that stuff? But anyway,
it's what they like. All right, so I'm trying to keep the calendar in my mind here. So you are doing the Sam Hunt.
We're gonna do the Sam Hunt deal
again.
But starting at the front, we're gonna, instead of giving away a dove hunt and Sam Hunt deal, we're gonna double it, and 2 of them are coming with a firearm, and all of the hunts will include, all the hunts at TC Duck Club will include all your shells. So, it's all inclusive, but we're going to drop it. We're at the skeet shoot. We're having a skeet shoot.
I wanted to talk about that too. That's June, right?
It's in June.
Okay.
June 28th, we're having a skeet shoot, and
where's that located?
It's going to be held at Pinecrest Lodge in Atala, and it is absolutely immaculate. It'll be the first big event, the grand opening, if you will, and we're going to open it up with Jim Ronquest and Drake Waterfowl, and Jim's a great guy, and I think I left him out earlier, but Jim's a great guy, and we're going to give all the details out for timeline, if you will, of what's going to be expected, or what you're going to be signing up for. But we're giving away firearms, and we're going to give away multiple hunts this year. And without saying too much, it's going to be a lot better than last year. We've kind of tweaked some things and listened to some people that bought tickets and like, hey, why don't y'all do something like this? And then we've already got something in the works with another group, for the next year. And so again, we're ate up with it. I told Miss Karen when we pulled up, I said, your husband has got us bit by the duck bug. I mean, we're ate up with it. But again, we'll we'll drop all the information at the skeet shoot. You are welcome to come down. We'd love to have you.
Very kind, thank you.
You can come to Alabama and make some bad decisions, but we'd love to have you down in Alabama and for the skeet shoot, dove shoot, Tuesday, Thursday, whenever. I don't care. You can come, hop in the truck. You can come tonight. Load the dogs up and we'll just shag on out.
Well, you say that. You know, he's offering that, but he has no idea what he's in store for. He's loaded dogs.
My wife would have the hair petted off them dogs by Sunday afternoon. We've got 2 golden retrievers, and I'm very, very hesitant to say this, but I guess I'm kind of, old, fat, and gray-headed and off the market, so I don't really care what people think about me anymore, but I'm ashamed of myself, really, as to how spoiled rotten our golden retrievers are. We've got one named Baby and one named Sissy, and they have outfits and, like, spa days, and, like, it's disgusting. Like, they've got more collars than I've got clothes. I mean, it's ridiculous. And one of them, the baby is named, let's see, West Piney's Dirty Dancing Girl, which is Baby, and West Piney's Urban Cowgirl, which is Baby, or Sissy. So I'm very, very, like, I almost threw up in my mouth telling you that story. But my wife loves those dogs, and I like sleeping inside. So, we
eat a cracker, man. I'm going to turn you off.
I'm going to.
All right. So, look, I'm going to ask you when you get done chewing. I'm going to ask you, I want to make sure everyone knows where to follow you and follow along with you. But you've been driving ever since yesterday morning or so, and I want to fire. There's a grill. I can see it in the camera. There's a cover right there, the Camp Chef. We're going to fire the Camp Chef up. Let's eat a little bit. I want to unplug you so you can just kind of like take a deep breath and say, I'm not going to do anything. There, I'll turn you back on. There we go. So, how can everyone follow along with you, Skylar Ray, and TC Duck Club?
If you are interested in following along with us, all you have to do is type in TC Duck Club on Instagram, in the search bar on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube. We have a YouTube and Spotify channel, and our podcast is called Talking Quack and Smack with TC Duck Club. We put out a new episode every Tuesday night. But if you're interested in the hunting type stuff and you want to come to Alabama and have a good time, like, I can guarantee you we'll have a good time. And you can do that on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Awesome. Love, to my right. Do you want to ask anything? Are you sure? Because we can't really hear. Because we really can't hear you. But I mean, if you want to be heard, I can make sure that you're heard. All right. Well, I appreciate you. He's just sitting on his first bottle of water, but I appreciate you. And I'm empty. My Yeti's empty, but we do appreciate the cheese and the crackers, and we're going to fire up the Camp Chef. All right. Skylar Ray, thank you very much. TC Duck Club, we appreciate you stopping by.
Man, I'm telling you, it's again, I don't know what we do now. I don't know where you go from here, but it's a true honor to meet both of you.
You come back.
I really appreciate it.
Well, you're very kind. You come back again.
You better watch what you say. I'll show up. You never know. One of my favorite things in the world is burning diesel fuel. I do everything I can to ruin the ozone layer for everybody. We'll drive. I love it. But thank you. All jokes aside, I know I joke a lot, and I'm amateur comedian, I guess, but we really do appreciate you having us. Thank you so much.
Salute. Boom. Well, yeah, you didn't. I'm here. Boom. There you go. All right, Skylar Ray, thank you very much for stopping by right here at PBHQ and being on, I don't know what episode it is, but the Pitboss podcast brought to you by Molly's Place Sporting Goods. So, a very happy Wednesday. A very happy Wednesday to you. Boom.
Salute.
Salute.